You know, whenever anyone tells me to go to hell, it just fills my heart with joy that they want me to play a fun video game series like Doom. Doom is more than the story of a lone marine fighting against the forces of hell. It's also got interdimensional travel with various debated alternate timelines. So, with Doom Eternal coming out next week, we did our best to lay out the whole story with the Doom timeline. We'll include all FPS releases and relevant expansions that have been released over the years, but we're leaving out the Doom RPG titles. Doom, March 15th, 2022. By the 2010s, humanity has already started colonizing nearby planets. The Union Aerospace Corporation, or UAC, has set up a base on Mars and its two moons, Deimos and Phobos, conducting sketchy interdimensional experimentation with help from the military. They open a direct portal between the two moons, but soldiers sent through either disappear or become violent and insane. The portals continue to destabilize, quickly becoming a conduit to darker realities. In 2019, our unnamed Marine protagonist, or Doom Guy, gets in trouble by assaulting his commanding officer after refusing to fire upon innocent civilians. As punishment, he's sent to the ultra-boring Mars UAC base. Fast forward to 2022, and Mars receives a distress call from the orbiting Phobos. Apparently, the base is being attacked by Hell itself. The UAC's messing with portals to the underworld seems to have finally caught up with them. Who would have thought? Doom Guy and company are rushed to the moon, and as the platoon storms the base, our hero secures the perimeter. Unfortunately, the forces of Hell pick off each of the other soldiers, or absorb them into their demonic ranks. Doom Guy loses all contact within a few short hours. As the last line of defense, it's up to Doom Guy to fight the Legion himself. Blasting through the hangar of Phobos, Doom Guy is truly knee-deep in the dead. He fights deeper and deeper through the base, taking down hordes of zombified soldiers and various hellish monsters. The station is crawling with fireball-hurling imps, erratic flaming skulls known as lost souls, and ferocious charging pinky demons and their invisible specter counterparts. Still, none of them stand a chance, as Doom Guy makes his way through the labs, nuclear base, toxic refinery, and more, cleaning up the mess his comrades couldn't handle. He finally arrives at the portal itself, the site of the Phobos anomaly, where he meets two Barons of Hell protecting the gateway to Deimos. Of course, Doom Guy overwhelms them with his ever-increasing firepower and proceeds through the portal to the sister moon, only to be completely ambushed. Somehow, Doom Guy survives, and ends up on the very shores of Hell. The Deimos moon has been entirely warped and corrupted by the forces of the underworld. With his trusty shotgun, chain gun, rocket launcher, plasma gun, chainsaw, and BFG 9000, Doom Guy proves this second moon is only a bit more challenging than the last. He's introduced to the floating Cacodemon as he re-kills the undead through the command center and Halls of the Damned. The adventure in Deimos draws to a close as Doom Guy challenges his biggest foe yet, the rocket-launching Cyberdemon. After some circle-strafe dueling, this ultimate behemoth crumbles before Doom Guy. With both moons saved, the quest must be complete, right? Well, that's what Doom Guy thought until he looked down and saw that Deimos was hovering over Hell itself. Rather than retreat, Doom Guy somehow rappels down, entering the Inferno and takes the battle to the monster's home turf. After tackling the unholy cathedral, House of Pain, and Slough of Despair, Doom Guy finally confronts the Spider Mastermind, the literal brains behind the entire Mars invasion. The Mastermind might be smarter than the Cyberdemon, but isn't much tougher with its hit-scanning chain gun. Doom Guy blasts it to smithereens and proceeds through a portal straight to Earth. Thy Flesh Consumed, 2022. Unfortunately, when Doom Guy arrives on Earth, he sees that the demons have already begun an assault. Not only that, his pet bunny Daisy has been murdered and mutilated. It's time for a little revenge. Thy Flesh Consumed was released as Chapter 4 of Ultimate Doom, and tells the story of how Doom Guy avenges Daisy and halts Hell's initial invasion on Earth. Taking notes from the Bible, Doom Guy survives through unruly evil, unto the cruel, and yes, even perfect hatred before taking down another Spider Demon mastermind. Though this was just part 1 of Hell's Earth invasion, Sigil, 2022. So turns out, Thy Flesh Consumed actually didn't take place on Earth, but rather a purgatory of sorts linking the two realms. At least, that's the story according to the brand new 5th chapter of Doom, Sigil. Sure, some don't really consider it canon, but it was released as an official add-on by Bethesda, and hey, John Romero made it. So I'm not going to argue with the man himself. Anyway, after defeating the Spider Demon from Thy Flesh Consumed, Doom Guy is all set to take the real portal back to Earth. But Baphomet, also known as the Icon of Sin, causes the teleporter to malfunction with its sigil, transporting Doom Guy even deeper into Hell. Doom Guy knows the full invasion is just around the corner, so he must act fast, defeat all the demons, and rush home. Hell made quite the mistake by bringing back its harbinger of destruction to new levels of their world like Passive Wretchedness and Unspeakable Persecution. Now fully seasoned, Doom Guy is able to destroy both the Cyberdemon and Spider Mastermind within the Halls of Perdition. However, the distraction was a success, and hordes of demons are already unleashed on our blue planet. Doom 2, Hell on Earth, 2022. When Doomguy arrives back to Earth via dropship, he sees that he's a bit late. Much of civilization lays in ruin, but a massive evacuation is still underway. Using a singular starport, Earth is sending its citizens to the far reaches of space. Unfortunately, demons have taken over this starport and have sealed it with a force field, preventing any ships from evacuating. The military tried and failed to storm the port, so Doomguy is once again the final hope to prevent our extinction. And with 5 chapters under his belt, Doomguy has little problem liberating the spaceport. This time, he's got a new weapon to aid him, the greatest Doom weapon outside of the BFG 9000, the Super Shotgun. Doomguy needs it too. The Earth invasion has brought new hellish creatures for him to contend with, including a new kind of former soldier zombie now equipped with a chain gun, or heavy gunner dude, the Mancubus, a tank of a demon using arm cannons to blast a barrage of fireballs, think a gross, demonic Blastoise, pain elementals, which spew and explode into individual lost souls. They're about as annoying as they sound. Revenants, skeleton dudes that punch real hard and shoot Doomguy seeking rockets, Hell Knights, basically Baron of Hell Lights, Arachnochons, mini spider demons with plasma guns, oh, and the Archvile. It can resurrect dead monsters and light you on fire by simply keeping a line of sight on you. As he's tackling the entryway in the gauntlet, Doomguy notices the port is becoming increasingly corrupted by Hell and its demonic presence. He must act swiftly through Dead Simple and the Pit before the base is completely lost. Sure enough, Doomguy succeeds, allowing the good people of Earth to safely escape to other worlds. He lays back to accept his fate as the invading demons will inevitably overwhelm him, but he's not done just yet. The Hell portal to Earth has been discovered within the heart of Doomguy's very own home city. So just like with Daisy, this has become personal. Doomguy battles through downtown, suburbs, an industrial zone, and more to save his home, along with the entire planet. See if he can completely stop the invasion, perhaps humanity doesn't have to flee Earth for too long. When Doomguy finds the portal to Hell, he sees no tangible way to destroy it, from this side at least. So he takes a deep breath and dives once more into the bowels of Hell. No stage can slow him down, not barrels of fun, not the abandoned mines, not even the chasm. Okay, maybe the chasm a little bit. After opening blue door after blue door and jibbing Archvile after Archvile, Doomguy finally meets the architect of all his pain, the Mastermind. But it isn't the Spider Mastermind, oh no. It's Baphomet, aka the Gatekeeper, aka John Romero's head, aka the Icon of Sin itself. This glorified wall texture with an exposed brain manufactures demons by the hoofful. Thankfully, when you combine that exposed brain with a conveniently placed elevator and a few well-timed missiles from Doomguy, the Icon of Sin is no more. No Rest for the Living, 2022. After returning from Hell, Doomguy still needs to take care of a few scattered handfuls of demons. They're still wreaking havoc, so it's up to Doomguy to destroy them in No Rest for the Living, an expansion released a decade and a half after Doom 2. Doomguy fights through an Earth lab before venturing yet again into a section of Hell, where he meets a new cyber demon rebuilding Hell's army to use for himself. Scaling Hell Mountain, swimming the Inferno of Blood, and bearing the brunt of the Baron's Banquet, Doomguy slaughters this wannabe sore loser. Hell on Earth has been prevented, so Doomguy shows off his skills with the master levels for some side cash. Final Doom, TNT Evolution 2022. After the little Hell invading Earth debacle, it's time for the UAC to go under new management since, the old guard got wiped out. Not that it makes much of a difference. The UAC sets up on Jupiter's moon Io and immediately starts messing with portals again. This time, they've got a military force to deal with whatever monsters appeared during the Io experimentation. Well, as cocky as they are about their new muscle, they definitely aren't prepared when a giant demon mothership invades the base, attracted by this experimentation. Doomguy is commander of the Marines at this point, but he's out on a walk when the demons launch their invasion. He couldn't save his comrades, but at least he was spared from zombification. After being attacked by an imp, he rushes to the base to enact revenge. Doomguy fights through experimental labs like Wormhole, then military base locations like the prison, stronghold, and storage facility. He continues battling throughout the night in the Dead Zone and Dead Reaches. Before long, the moon is warped into a hellscape as seen in Mount Pain and River Styx, before Doomguy confronts the mastermind of this invasion. It's something far more terrifying than last time. The Demon Spitter, with the uncanny ability to spit demons and... Okay, it's just the Icon of Sin again. Final Doom, The Plutonia Experiment, 2023. The Io experiments aren't all the new UAC is up to. They also create a marine-protected base in a jungle on Earth. Here, they try closing interdimensional portals for once, from a safe distance via quantum accelerators. This is known as the Plutonia Experiment, the other half of Final Doom. Demons catch wind of the scheme and open up a portal deep within the base, but an accelerator swiftly closes it. Now wiser, the monsters open 7 portals the following day. The humans are able to close 6 of the portals before getting overwhelmed overwhelmed and slaughtered, but one remains open. Hordes of Marines are called to the base, but Doom Guy is the first one there. He realizes that if he waits for reinforcements, he'll be too late. So he charges into the base to once again battle his godforsaken foes solo. Fighting through the jungles of Congo, an Aztec layout temple, and a horrible labyrinth filled with archviles, Doom Guy successfully reclaims the Quantum Accelerator prototype. He goes further through a hell-corrupted, demon-infested base, eventually making his way to a demon hive where the final portal lies. It's being guarded by the most horrifying Doom boss imaginable, the Gatekeeper. Oh yes, the Gatekeeper. This monstrosity is just the icon of sin again. Well, Doom Guy blows it up, seals off the portal, and Earth is saved once more. Doom 64, post-2023. After the initial Hell outbreak, Mars's moons were put under quarantine. By that, I mean heavily bombarded with radiation for years to make sure nothing survived. Unfortunately, something survives. What's worse is the survivor is none other than the Mother Demon, a monster capable of mutating dead demon carcasses to revive minions more powerful than before. This lone survivor rapidly builds a massive force, and since all the radiation blocks the demon sensors, the Earthlings are none the wiser. Once they finally find out what's going on, humanity turns to the one survivor who knows the Mars bases and demon-slaying business like the back of his bloodied hand. Doom Guy. The mutated monsters are more grotesque and detailed than ever before. There's even a new Nightmare Imp which blends into the darkness and hurls purple fireballs. Though the demons all got a visual upgrade, the Mother Demon couldn't revive every monster. There's no Chain Gun Zombie, no Revenant, no Spider Mastermind, and no Archvile. Such a bummer. Well, at least Doom Guy gets a new tool in his arsenal. Dethroning the BFG 9000, we have the Unmaker, a laser gun that you can upgrade with demon keys. And collect them Doom Guy does as he rumbles through a corrupted base in Hell itself, again. He breezes through the Terraformer and Alpha Quadrant before diving into the underworld without skipping a beat through the Altar of Pain and Unholy Temple. With his Unmaker completely juiced up to 11, the Mother Demon is mere cannon fodder to the battle-hardened Marine. With another threat eradicated, Doom Guy is at his breaking point. He simply can't handle the mental fatigue of demon invasion after demon invasion. A sane man would retire, so Doom Guy obliges by retiring straight to Hell. He decides to stay in the underworld, slaughtering demons and keeping reality safe for years to come. At last, he's found his own form of peace. Doom 3 separate timeline explanation. Okay, so this is where things start to get really tricky. Like I said, there are multiple dimensions and realities within Doom, so Doom 3 and its expansions fit best in their own parallel but separate timeline. There actually is an id multiverse timeline that developers Tom Hall and John Romero themselves support. This theory states that every Doom protagonist is the same character and that they're linked to the Wolfenstein and Commander Keen franchises. Look, I'm not one to argue with Doom creators, but that's a little bit of a stretch for Doom 3. You'd have to assume the UAC decided to completely forget about their previous Mars experimentations and failures, and you'd have to assume Doom Guy lived in complete obscurity after saving humanity several times, only to be commissioned as a mere corporal on a remote planet 100 years later. So if you're able to suspend your disbelief that far, then you can slip all Doom 3 games after the Plutonia experiment and before Doom 64 when Doom Guy stayed in Hell. But me, I'm gonna keep these titles quarantined in their own alternate timeline. In many ways, Doom 3 is a reimagining of the original Doom. This time, the UAC has been trying to terraform Mars into a habitable environment, but while constructing Mars City, they discover a Martian civilization from eons prior, complete with a bevy of mysterious lore and artifacts. And so, the focus on Mars turns to excavation. The Martian civilization was very advanced, and even figured out interdimensional transportation. UAC scientists begin recreating this technology, opening portals to a dark realm. They flat out ignore ancient warnings from the Martians about inevitable extinction, and send human subjects through the portal, leading to very intense PTSD. Things start to get pretty spooky, flickering lights, occasional demon sightings, the whole shebang. But of course, none of these scientists have ever seen any horror or sci-fi movies, and they push forward with their research. Doom Resurrection. June 2145. One day, things reach a calamity point when an experiment leads to a full facility invasion. Marine divisions face varying levels of demonic opposition throughout the base, but Bravo Team gets the worst of it. The whole team gets wiped out, except for a lone soldier. With the guidance of Dr. Garrett and a helpful droid Sam, this Marine battles his way to an escape spaceship. He even visits Hell along the way and closes a few portals, proving his badassery. Sam sacrifices itself so that the escape ship can close its doors, and this hero Marine successfully escapes. Yet somehow, research continues as normal in the following months. Doom 3, November 15th, 2145. A few months later, Dr. Betruger, the top scientist on Mars, is drunk with power and hides his discoveries from Earth. The Doctor even enters the portal himself, coming back creepier than ever. Things are clearly spiraling out of control, so the UAC sends Counselor Swan and his bodyguard Campbell to Mars for damage control. They're also accompanied by an unnamed corporal, aka Doom Guy, but according to us, not the original Doom Guy, so we'll refer to him as Doom Marine. Swan presses Betruger about the strange experimentation, but the creepy doctor maintains amazing things are about to go down. Master Sergeant Kelly assigns Doom Marine to find missing scientist Ishii in the communications facility. Doom Marine tracks down this terrified scientist, but right on cue, Hell's Gateway opens up, unleashing demons and transforming a vast majority of the base into monsters. After killing a zombified Ishii, Doom Marine is tasked with tracking down the surviving Bravo team, which must have been reformed after Doom Resurrection, and helping them send a distress signal for reinforcements. Meanwhile, Swan and Campbell head to shut down the communications facility to quarantine the Mars base. So the UAC representatives want to shut down communication, while the military upper brass wants to send out a distress signal. Yet Betruger is still boasting about his control over the situation. Okay, sure. Doom Marine methodically makes his way through the Alpha Labs and takes down a Vagary, a new enemy that's half human, half spider, kinda like Quake's 4. In the N-Pro facility, Bravo team is mostly wiped out, but one brave Marine survives long enough to pass the distress card to Doom Marine to complete the mission. However, Campbell beats Doom Marine to the punch, absolutely destroying the console in the communications facility. Sergeant Kelly orders Plan B, for Doom Marine to call reinforcements at a nearby satellite tower, but Swan pleads with the Marine to stand down. The backup would only get slaughtered and nobody knows what they're dealing with yet. Here, the player has to make a choice. Doom Marine doesn't send the transmission, well, in my playthrough at least, and heads to the Delta Labs to fight against the continually incoming forces of Hell. On the way, Doom Marine encounters Betruger, who reveals that he sent out the reinforcement distress signal himself anyway. See, he wants new ships to arrive so he can hijack them and attack Earth with the forces of Hell under his control. Doom Marine takes a monorail to Delta Labs and Skypes with Sergeant Kelly, who seems a bit off. They're set to meet up, but Kelly stands him up, so the Marine rebounds by meeting UAC scientist Ian McCormick. McCormick tells him about Betruger controlling and unleashing the forces of Hell via a mysterious artifact he collected in the underworld known as the Soul Cube. When Doom Marine finally reaches the Hell Gateway, Betruger activates the Void and unleashes two hulking Hell Knights, a la Phobos Anomaly. Doom Marine blasts them to bits, then uses the portal to beeline right to Hell to find the mysterious Soul Cube. And so, Doom Marine grits his teeth through wave after wave of occultish nightmares before battling the Guardian, a crocodilian protector of the cube. After claiming the artifact and returning to Mars, Doom Marine has to endure a different kind of hell, Betruger bragging about a bigger, badder portal that still exists. Swan warns Doom Marine that Sarge is now completely corrupted as Betruger's pawn. Sarge cuts off Swan's escape, mortally wounding him, but Doom Guy takes action and kills his former commanding officer. Soon after, an archaeologist named Rogers offers more info about the Soul Cube and how humans may actually be descended from Martians. More importantly, he supplies Doom Marine with his security clearance, allowing him access to dig sites containing eye-popping leftovers of the ancient civilization. Fighting deeper and deeper through these ruins, Doom Marine discovers a slice of hell itself that has somehow crept into our reality. Here, Doom Marine discovers the ultimate, literal hellhole portal being guarded by none other than a hulking cyber demon. Thankfully, this final boss has one weakness that Doom Marine went to hell and back to retrieve, the Soul Cube. Sure enough, the cyber demon falls and the portal is permanently sealed. A week later, a recon team discovers Doom Marine as the lone survivor, while Betruger retires to hell, becoming the demon Maledict. Boss mission, November 15th, 2145. But it turns out Doom Marine isn't the only one who survived this ordeal. The last member of Bravo team finds himself isolated and overwhelmed 6 hours into the invasion. A Dr. Myers reaches out to him in desperation. See, Myers did some work in the Exis Labs, experimenting with long-range teleportation devices. Some demons returned to Hell with some of this teleportation tech, and now they intend to use its power to transport straight to Earth. It's up to this Marine to rebuild the Exis Labs teleporter, transport to Hell, and save the planet. In Hell, he destroys another Guardian and destroys the teleportation device, returning to Mars just before the portal seals. Dr. Myers congratulates him as they escape on the same ship the Doom Marine arrived on earlier that day. Resurrection of Evil, March 17th, 2147. Once the demonic dust settles a year after the Mars invasion, the UAC decides to continue Betruger's research after picking up an unidentifiable signal on Mars. Fortunately, they put Dr. Elizabeth McNeil, a whistleblower and enemy of Betruger, in charge of the revamped base. A new batch of Marines arrives as well, one of which is our new unnamed protagonist. In March of 2147, McNeil leads the Marines to an ancient chamber harboring a mysterious artifact. When our Marine touches the artifact, he unleashes a surge of energy that kills his team and opens up yet another portal to Hell. But Truger, now the Maledict, is pleased because now a new invasion can begin. He tasks 3 Hell Knight hunters with retrieving the artifact which Dr. McNeil and the Marine sought to protect. The Marine collects a grabber, aka gravity gun, from a dying comrade, and once he defeats the first hunter, learns that the artifact grants him superpowers like slowing time. This firepower comes in handy against new foes like mutated imps known as Vulgars, Hell Knight Mancubus hybrids known as Bruisers, and throwback Lost Souls known as Forgotten Ones. Our Marine also recovers a double-barrel super shotgun from Sergeant Kelly's old office to really give his arsenal some extra oomph. Defeating another Hell Hunter and beefing up with Berserk, the Marine eventually reunites with McNeil at the Phobos lab. Turns out, the artifact is a weapon known as the Heart of Hell, and the demons wanted to use it in an ancient Martian war. Returning the artifact to Hell is the only way to seal the portal between the two realities. Once the last invulnerability Hell Hunter is defeated, Dr. McNeil is able to transport the Marine straight into the sealed and demonically warped Delta Lab where the portal still resides. At the iconic gateway, the Marine enters Hell and uses his super demonic relic powers to lay waste to anything that stands in his way. He reaches the Maledict, but the demon thrashes the Marine about within its mouth. But Truger's head pops out and demands the artifact, so the Marine gladly gives it to him. He shoves it down the monster's gullet, destroying the Maledict and the artifact in one go. As for the ending, it's pretty ambiguous. Dr. McNeil mutters that they're home amidst a wash of white. Either the Marine made it back in one piece, or was destroyed as well and finds himself in a better place. It's not like it really matters, because we're moving on to an alternate timeline. Or maybe it's a distant future of the original timeline where everybody forgot what happened. Look, the jury's still out on how Doom 2016 fits into all of this, so just go with your gut. Doom 2016, 2149. Once again, the UAC has a base on Mars and is researching interdimensional portals. This time, though, they're using an infinite source of energy known as Argent, which is directly tapped from the might of Hell. They build a massive tower to harness this power, working towards solving all energy problems back on Earth. Naturally, Hell energy is a bit radioactive, and UAC director Dr. Hayden develops a nasty bout of cancer and has to transfer his brain into a cyborg body. Tapping into Argent allows scientists to explore and study Hell itself. They bring home some captive demons and souvenirs, but all this demonic influence is bringing some negative side effects. Hell is starting to enchant certain scientists, particularly Dr. Olivia Pierce. She begins a hell-worshipping cult within the UAC and wants to open a permanent portal to Hell and allow our reality to be consumed. Fortunately, Dr. Hayden has found the Helix Stone in Hell, which leads to the discovery of the Doomslayer. The Doomslayer is a mysterious warrior feared by all of demonkind. He's been the arbiter of numerous underworld massacres over time, and his soul is currently trapped in Hell. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's not officially confirmed that this is the same Doom guy we've come to know and love, but come on, this is totally the Doom guy we saw in Doom 64. Dr. Hayden lugs the Doomslayer sarcophagus back to Mars, and it's a good thing he did. Dr. Pierce soon rips a portal wide open and welcomes a full-on demon invasion. The Doomslayer awakens in the midst of the ensuing onslaught, and most of the base has already been corrupted by Hell. Thankfully, the Doomslayer is even more souped up this time around with the use of the Praetor suit. Doom Guy can jump, hell, even double jump, and now he can even rip enemies limb from limb with his bare hands. He's also equipped with a Gauss cannon and a wealth of new equipment like grenades. A few new enemies join the fray, like new breeds of possessed UAC employees, a laser gun-wielding Hellraiser, and a now computerized Cyber Mancubus. Dr. Hayden guides the Doomslayer through the facility with some help from the computer AI system Vega. The Marine is tasked with bringing a satellite online before heading towards the Argent Tower to thwart Dr. Pierce, which in his world means killer. She wants to permanently open the Hell portals by overloading the Argent Tower using Argent energy accumulators. Dr. Hayden wants the Doomslayer to spare the Argent energy sources from his wrath, but Doom Guy doesn't take orders from anyone. Instead, he destroys the priceless culmination of years of time and research. By the time the Doomslayer catches up to Pierce atop the tower, he's just a moment too late. She launches herself into the Hell Drill, accumulator in tow, ripping Hell wide open and sucking the Doomslayer into the void. Now in Hell, we learn even more about the awesome potential of the ultra-powerful Doomslayer. Apparently, he's able to travel through dimensions and time with power beyond any mere mortal. The Doomslayer fights his way back to Mars, where Dr. Hayden sends him on a quest to investigate Pierce's office and the Helix Stone. While venturing through the experimental labs, the Doomslayer acquires a new iteration of the megaweapon BFG 9000. After he finds the Helix Stone, he learns that Pierce is after the Crucible, a mysterious demonic key slash sword slash MacGuffin. But it's in Hell, and in order to get back there, the Doomslayer needs another Argent accumulator. Thankfully, a hulking cyber demon is powered by one in his chest, and lends it to our hero. The Doomslayer is now back in Hell, and wastes absolutely no time blasting through the Necropolis. toppling 3 Hellguards and finding the Crucible. Dr. Hayden transports him back to Mars, and Vega sacrifices his Argent life force to send him straight to the source of the demonic invasion, the Hell Well. Well, the Hell Well is well done once Doomslayer and the Crucible arrive on scene. Seeking vengeance, Dr. Pierce is transformed into the Spider Demon mastermind. But before you have time to feel nostalgic, the Doomslayer obliterates it with a well-placed BFG 9000 point-blank shot right in the kisser. Even though the Doomslayer slaughtered every obstacle in his way, this story doesn't quite have a happy ending. Dr. Hayden betrays him and steals the Crucible since it's a potent source of Argent energy, potent enough to continue the research into Hell. And so, the cycle continues with the Doomslayer locked away and out of reach of Hayden's continued research. For now. Will Doom Eternal answer some of our questions about the timeline ambiguity? Maybe. Will Doom Eternal kick a lot of ass? Absolutely yes. And will you subscribe to the leaderboard? Man, I hope so. My name is Marcus, and if you love Doom like I do, let me know if you want to see more Doom videos. From indie to AAA, we love the games you play. Thanks for watching.